Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the bet review show for UFC 234, Kelvin Gastelum versus Robert Whittaker. We're going to get into our best bet play that was for purchase on Wagertalk. We're also going to talk a little bit about our free play and as well as our overall feeling on this card. We'll talk a little bit about that main event. It was my free play, Kelvin Gastelum. We'll talk about that in a minute. Talk about Israel Adesanya in a minute as well. But I wanted to get into our best bet play. Our best bet play was on Jimmy Crute to defeat Sam Alvey. We were able to cash in on Jimmy Crute to get that victory at minus 130. And in this fight here, taking a look at it, and again, I do appreciate everybody who did make the purchase on Wagertalk. I will post my write-up that people that do make that purchase do receive prior to the fight. I'll put that in the description down below. So again, thank you for everyone who did make that purchase, and we were able to cash in again. In this fight here, to me, I mean, Jimmy Crute is definitely an up-and-comer. He is, had 9 fights professionally. He came from the Dana White Contender Series. I was impressed by what he did on that Contender Series. He got a first-round TKO victory, but I think it was really what he did against Paul Craig, who is a journeyman, who is not an elite fighter, but a tough fighter. He's got jiu-jitsu credentials, as well as something that Cruz has as well. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. So I liked what he did in that fight. It was a third-round finish for Crute. I liked what he did there, and that really started to give me an opportunity to take a look at what he's going to do against Alvey. Now, Alvey is 33-11. He is a journeyman. He's been in the UFC for quite some time. He is a vet, and the only thing that really scared me was having that experience here over Crute. Crute has the tools. He's got great combinations. He definitely has shown in spots, though, where he can be a little bit sloppy with his striking. But here, being at home, I really believe that he was going to be more focused in front of his home crowd against a guy like Alvey. Now, I did not like the fact that they were so buddy-buddy, and I will talk a little bit about my thoughts on Silva and Israel Adesanya and how buddy-buddy they were. But same thing with Alvey. They were constantly joking around, which I get, I'm not a fighter, so I guess that's, you can really, you understand it's your job and you can be professional about it. But it was a little bit too much respect for me going into there, so I wasn't sure how that would translate sometimes when you take a look at a fight. And with Sam Alvey, he's got power. He's the kind of guy that, circles backwards, looks to throw that right check hook, and that's really what he likes to do. Wants to pull and draw his opponents into more of a firefight. Now, that was what I was hoping was not going to happen with Crute. I was hoping that he would be able to be a little bit more calm, work some kicks, work his combinations from the outside, and then find an opportunity, if he was able to get Alvey to the ground, work his jiu-jitsu, because Sam Alvey has nothing grappling-wise, where you've got Crute who can utilize that grappling, get it to the ground and get the finish. But he showed here in this fight, early in this fight, he was well above anything that Alvey was able to really defend. Looked like the power was there, looked like the speed was there for Crute. Right away, I did not like the way Alvey even looked. I thought he looked completely out of shape. I know that it was a short-term notice for him. It was about a week, but he was slightly being ready for an upcoming fight. So it wasn't, Crute had the full camp, which he definitely did have a full camp, and Alvey did not. But Alvey had things that were in the pipeline there, where he was set up to fight somebody else. He was starting to, really train. So it wasn't that he was full out of camp. But I like the fact that really it was going to be the speed and power leverage more for Crute to go out there and get this victory. So Crute goes out there, gets the first round finish. It was an easy winner. Felt good to have that best bet winner hit early in the night. Did not have to worry about anything else. Could enjoy the rest of the night. Obviously, because the free play did not happen, which is on Kelvin Gastelum. So it was nice to get that victory. Had a house full of people. All of us cashed in. All of us made some money last night. So it's always another profitable victory for us here on Kyle Anthony's UFC betting show. So really excited about that. And now we're at the point, we've got another one coming up. Got to focus on that one for next week. We'll get into more of that. And again, the best bet play for 2018 was 69% winner, with all best bets under minus 190 and below. And again, we're not always betting on minus 190s. That's just the value that I'm showing here, that we're going to be lower than that. We're going to have some underdog plays. We've had some plus plays as well here and be able to cash in. So again, want to utilize really the stature of what we believe our free play should be here on the show. So again, we're able to cash in on the best bet play on Jimmy Crute to defeat Sam Alvey, able to get that in. Now the free play was on Kelvin Gastelum to defeat Robert Whittaker. And this fight here, I mean, you know what? Very excited that, Thursday or so, I was very excited about it. And all these things coming out with Kelvin Gastelum and ringworm and staph infection. That really started to really worry me. So I was talking to a lot of you guys on Twitter. And again, follow me on Twitter at Mr. UFC Vegas. I'm very active on there too. I do have a lot of conversation with many of you guys that are subscribers here that I do talk to you on Twitter, so I do appreciate all the support. But we were talking to you guys, it worried me. There's no doubt it worried me. I stuck to my guns there. I said, I'm just going to let this go. I was, do you hedge off a little bit? Do you bet the other way and get off some of the action? But I was like, you know what? I really believe that Kelvin has an opportunity to get this victory. These are just rumors. There are some kind of gross pictures out there of Kelvin Gastelum and these possible staph infections. So it actually even more now at the post-fight interview that it is true that he did have a staph infection. So I don't know exactly, didn't get the whole detail of it, but it did make me feel good. And then when I found out on Saturday that the fight was canceled, I said, well, I guess it is staph infection. He's sick, and it ends up being Robert Whittaker. Sounded like it was pretty bad. Sounded like he had a really bad intestine problem, and I don't know exactly what that is, but he had an issue there. It was very severe, had to go get surgery. So that fight did not happen. Really hope that fight does happen. Also, it's weird that Gastelum was walking around with the belt after the fight. Not really sure what that's about. I understand he's saying, hey, you know what, I was prepared. We went to the weigh-ins, and then he didn't show up at the fight. But the guy had to get surgery. As much as I was rooting for Gastelum, to get this victory and think he could go out there with those plus odds of plus 200, go out there and get that victory in the main event. A little bit weird that he's walking around with the title when they didn't even fight. So a little bit weird on that. And then the last one I wanted to talk about quickly was the co-main event. Well, actually was the main event. Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya. This fight, you had Israel, who was a minus 500. You had Anderson Silva roughly about plus 450, somewhere around there. I've even seen Israel was at minus 650 at one point. So it's kind of been all over the place. This fight, again, it was the same thing that I saw kind of with the Crute fight. It is nice that people get along. I do agree that that's also part of it. But boy, the love fest was on. The bromance was on with these two guys. I mean, they had a lot of respect for each other. Even in the weigh-in, they were both kind of very emotional. And, in the press conference, they were emotional. And, it looked like even in the cage, they were a little bit emotional. And then even after the fight, they were emotional. So there was a lot of crying happening there. But in the fight, Israel was just way too much for him. And again, we talked about it on the prediction show that it was kind of a stay away. It was a kind of a fight where you take a look, and it's more of the stay away when you say, what can Silva bring to the table? And for me, it was more reason why I was looking more to stay away from this fight is because you don't know what Silva brings. There's too many variables there where Silva is one of the best ever, and then he's been out, and now he's coming back. It was too much to say, hey, how good can he really be when you haven't seen a body work for a little bit? He had lost a bunch, broke his leg, PED allegations, a lot of those things happening where Israel is the shining star. The price was just very high on Israel, but he came out there and, I think it was just too much respect. Part of me is saying, hey, is Silva that good? Can Silva really go out there and get a victory, fight somebody else, and whatever? If he's going to be fighting again, it does sound like he wants to fight again, but get another victory. Go out there and get a victory against somebody. Is he that good, or was it just too much respect from both of these men why Israel didn't go out there and just finish the fight? There were spots in there. I'm wondering why he wasn't pushing. Then they were, Silva's doing a lot of the Silva kind of moves and maneuvers and taunts and dancing, and it was nice to see that. Again, I'm a Silva fan. Definitely nice to see him back in the cage after what he's had to go through, but I think Israel really could have finished that fight and done it in spectacular fashion. But there were spots that obviously, Silva was landing some nice shots in there. So it was an interesting fight. Anderson Silva loses that fight, and Israel Adesanya does get that victory. So just covering it there, I think it was wondering if you guys were placing some of the money on. I talked to a couple of you guys who did decide to bet Israel Adesanya. So just interesting to see that ended up being the main event when I was very, very excited about seeing Gastelum versus Whittaker. So we will have our bet review show, we will have our prediction show out Thursday for the coming event. It's going to be on Sunday, I believe the card is, with Cain Velasquez versus Francis Ngannou. So that's going to be a great main event fight. Looking forward to breaking that card down. There actually is, that card is actually pretty nice. The crazy part is it's maybe 3 times better than the card that just happened. It's a pay-per-view, and that's going to be an ESPN card, and it's a stacked card. Prelims are even great. I took a look quickly at it last night. There's definitely a lot of fights I'm looking forward to breaking down, so that's going to be it. We will talk about that. We'll have that prediction show out on Thursday, and let me know down below. Subscribe. Make sure you guys are liking these videos. Again, I do appreciate everyone who gives us a thumbs up, and let me know down below what you guys bet, what you guys had. Did you guys take the best bet play as well on Jimmy Crute? And again, I love to keep those conversations down below, and I like to answer as many of them as possible. So I appreciate the support, and check me out on Wagertalk as well. Appreciate those that made the purchase. We're able to cash in again. And this is Kyle Anthony, and this is UFC Betting Show.